Today we're working on my press. This is a press I bought at an auction, I think it was about 3 years ago. I had it for a while and then finally got around to fixing it up and painted it and fixed some welds on it. It didn't have a jack when I bought it. Bought a jack from Harbor Freight, which actually I'm really happy with that jack. I think it was a $99 jack, but it does exactly what I need it to do. It's not actually made the greatest. If you look at it real closely, you can see kind of the port block part of it it just burned out of steel and painted. But it works. I mean, that's all I could ask for. But I've used this to press bearings in a lot. But here recently I started using it for broaching. And I immediately started having trouble with broaching. Whenever I get pressure on it, it wants to flex. The table wants to move one way or the other. I'm not sure if it's like that all the time, but I know the last time I used it, it wanted to go to the right. There's a million reasons why it could be. It could be the holes are not all that accurate. So this set of holes could be lower than that set of holes. The table could be out of kilter, off level. This here could be out of level a little bit. And it's so on and so on. It's really, you can't fix it because every time you change holes, it's going to change your table and so on and so on. It could even be, I was thinking this rod that's up into here, this represents the rod. If that thing was not setting perfectly flat like that, if it's like this, once it gets pressure on it, it self-rights itself. Well, then that kicks the bottom over. And of course it's amplified because it's way that far away. So 10 thousandths of movement up here might be an 1/8 inch down there. I need to do the math to figure it out. But anyways, point being, we got to fix it so it doesn't move. It doesn't seem to be moving this way or this way. It's just this way or this way. So you don't want to flex your broaches. So what I decided to do after looking around is add a set of guides to it. And as you can see, it's got a set of factory guides on it. But honestly, all these guides do is keep the jack from falling off. Because if you sit here and think about it, if you didn't have them jet guides on there, then if you come down here and pushed on this, then the springs would pull the bottom outward, and then of course it would flip up and the jack would fall out on your feet, and that would be painful. So basically it just keeps it in the general area. These things move around a 1/4 inch. They're not very, very good for guides. I looked online and a couple different versions stuck out. One version of guide was, well, I think it might have been factory. There was a slot cut in here, like a 2-inch wide slot, and then it simply had a pin that protruded through it. And of course it was turned down to a shoulder, so the shoulder of that hit, and then it had a washer on the other side, and that kept it from going this way and this way, and of course the shoulder kept it from going this way or this way. The other version I seen was a piece of channel iron just simply welded to this, and a piece of 2x2 or something, a square tubing welded here. And the channel iron would just simply surround that, and that would keep it from going like this and also like this. Just a random piece of channel iron over top piece of tubing. It's not going to be a perfect good fit. It's still going to be play. So anyways, what I decided to do is make something up where I didn't have to weld it, or at least weld it that much. And that is this piece here. Actually, you can see better over here. This has my wear pad on it. And this wear pad is Nylotron. I don't know if you're familiar with Nylotron, but it wears really, really good. It's not going to wear at all. That stuff is tough. It's actually borderline brittle. You can actually crack it if you hit it. It doesn't deform a lot. But anyways, let me show you what I come up with here. This part will be welded on there. And I got to make sure it's straight before I weld it. So in other words, it's sitting there like that. So I got to make sure it's straight this way and this way. Once I get that, then I can put more tacks down here. Right now I only got one in the middle. That way I can move it this way, and I also can move it this way. The outside piece will not be welded. It's all bolted. And I might have went a little crazy with the bolts. I don't know. I just wanted to make sure I had enough when I had it on there. And if we look over here, you can see the actual bottom side of this. And I got a visitor. Checking up on me, huh? But anyways, here's the bottom side. And basically, these are the bolts that holds the rails on. So one here, 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 and here. Same thing on the other side. These here are just 1/4 tapped holes. That's for set screws. So I'm able to jack this thing outward, or I'm able to jack it like this way and this way, or this way and this way. So I'm able to get that thing where it's, if it's tight at the top, I'll be able to get it where it's tight at the bottom. If I didn't do that, these rails aren't all that accurate in spacing. In other words, it might be an 1/8 inch wider up here than it is down here. So if I got it tight up here, then once I started pressing it down, it would get stuck somewhere in here, or vice versa. If it was wider down here, I'd get it tight up here. By the time I got down into here, it would be real loose. So with the jack screws, I'm able to take that out. These are the screws that actually holds it on. I've already started bolting this and on. I was only able to get to the 2 bottom ones there to drill them, but I got this in a position where it needs to be, as far as this way goes and everything. So I drilled and put nuts on and bolts on the bottom one, got them good and tight. Now that'll hold it. It shouldn't move now. I'll do the same thing on the other side with this one and get it tight, and then I'll pull the jack out and this table out, pull everything out and drill the rest of the holes, get it tight, and then put everything back in, and then I'll be able to take my jack screws and tighten them down, loosen the middle screws up, and then jack it out and get everything where it's true this way, and you get the point, picture. But anyways, that is the gist of what I'm doing, and I just wanted to share that with you. So let me get off here, and I want to completely finish the project. Well, there it is. I got it finished. Got my rails in. Made about 7 other things along the way. Made a new handle. The other one was real loose in here, so I just made a new one. Used a bicycle grip. It's actually really soft. It's off of a bicycle of my kids. He got other handle grips for it, and had them. Made new pins for in here. There's 3 pins because they was really, really loose. So I just took a drill bit and found the biggest of the 2 holes and just used that size drill bit and run through both, and then made a pin to fit. That way there isn't near as much slop in it now. Did away with the little pin that was drove through the up and down nub there, the descent or release valve. And I made a knob up and just drove a pin through it. Tightened it up. I added some set screws too, just to make sure it was good and tight. And of course, finished the rail, or the guides. And they was actually a pain to get adjusted. Took me, I don't know, I fooled with that thing probably a couple hours before I figured out how to get them parallel with each other. What I ended up doing was I took a couple pieces of all thread and tack welded them together, and put a nut on the other end. I actually put 2 nuts and interlocked them together so they wouldn't turn so easy, and stuck it in between here, like in between both of them there, and then of course there on the other one, and screwed the nuts out and wiggled it around just like you would kind of like a bore gauge, until it just barely touched, and then took it down at the bottom, got it to barely touch, and then moved the here, and here, 4 corners, and just kept checking all different places until I got them parallel with each other. And actually, I only had to move this one, which you can see how the bottom's out more than the top. And when I did that, I didn't have enough set screws, so I had a bunch of 1/4 bolts sticking in here for the set screws. And I bought some set screws at the store yesterday, and I changed them out. And when I did, I got one too tight and didn't realize it. All of a sudden the thing would go up so far and stop. Well, then I realized, you know, that one of them was too tight. And all I had to do when I loosened that thing, it was this one right here. I loosened that screw probably that much, just turned it. That much is all it took. And that loosened it right up. So it's pretty darn close. But anyways, I got something here to broach. It's actually, I actually did the first operation on it. I need to run it through with the shim now. It's actually a band brake for, I forget the name, some old 1950s tractor. Somebody has it work. He couldn't find a band brake with a 3/4 hole in it. So I just made him one. And it's actually pretty hard stuff. I don't know what it is. It's way harder than 1045. But anyways, you can see I got half of a keyway there. Need to do the other half now. Whoops. So we'll go ahead and do that, and you fellas can see how good it works. I need the shim, don't I? Need the shim. Need this. Probably good I did this because this is second operation seemed to have the most pressure on it. Last time I did something anyways. Right there. And I put that in there. Give it a shot of some cutting oil. Never too much cutting oil. And away we go. As you can see, no flex. Try to get you in a good spot to see here. There we go. Boy, that's a close up, isn't it? You can see the bottom. There went some chips. Should be another chip coming out. It's cut again pretty heavy. Oh, another thing I did too is I added some markings so I knew when I was close to the end. I got 2 inches left, and then I'm right at the 1 inch mark now. I think I'll make it. Oh, whoops. Damn it. At least I didn't bust it. Always set your cutting oil in a safe spot. Yeah, it'll be all right. Now I gotta pump this thing for 5 minutes again. And I'm through. I should be able to grab a hold of that and pull that out. Maybe not quite yet. All right. And there it is. Ugh. We have a keyway. I don't know if I can get it out of there one-handed, but we have a keyway anyways. You know what's funny is the rest of them I did, that thing fell out of there, and I do one on camera and it sticks. But there we go, nice keyway. Ready to roll. Actually cut it really good. If I can get you guys to see it. It's a pretty nice finish in there. Anyways, that ends that project. So anyways, thanks for watching, and good luck.